Natural selection is the process that results in the adaptation of an organism to its environment, using selectively reproducing changes in its genotype or genetic constitution. Those variations in the genotype that increase an organism's chances of survival and procreation are preserved and multiplied from one generation to another at the expense of less advantageous variations. Evolution often occurs as a consequence of this process. Natural selection may arise from differences in survival, infertility, rate of development, mating success, or any other life cycle aspect. Natural selection multiplies the incidence of beneficial mutations over generations and eliminates harmful ones. It enhances the preservation of a group of organisms that are best adjusted to their environment's physical and biological conditions, and may also result in their improvement in some cases. So have emotions evolved via natural selection? Darwin argued that emotions have evolved via natural selection and serve this purpose for human survival and help aid in communication and bonds with others. For Darwin, emotion had an evolutionary history that could be traced across cultures and species. Let ancestors' hypersociability evolved, leading to more beneficial and enhanced behaviors that led to better surviving conditions for the species and significant improvements and enhancements. Physical gains and kind of lifestyle improvements. So, after roaming human settlements for food leftovers tens of thousands of years ago, their descendants now have dog hotels, care centers, clinics, and premium food in the supermarkets. This can be applied as well to our example earlier for war rivalry between countries, turning into sports and football rivalry. An analogy of that would be that enthusiasm and passion evolved to be channeled to more peaceful venues. To some extent, we can say that about anger, aggression, and violence as well in this case. Yet harmful traits, such as violence, should be controlled and eventually be eliminated. This raises an interesting question. Do emotions evolve through a mechanism comparable to natural selection or even entirely through natural selection, or is it the other way around? In other words, are emotions one of the key factors driving natural selection? Charles Darwin himself did sort of explore this. In 1872, he published a book, The Expression of the Emotions in Man and Animals. For Darwin, emotion had an evolutionary history that could be traced across cultures and species. He analyzed emotional responses in animals. He compared such responses in a variety of species. He proposed that expressions of emotion evolved in an organism to signal to other organisms what it is about to do next. For example, when an animal feels threatened, it may display a stance of aggression. It may bare its teeth. It may lean forward. It may make aggressive sounds. All of this behavior is to indicate violent behavior, and it does well in intimidating some percentage of other organisms nearby, which may then retreat in fear without necessitating actual combat. Thus, this type of behavior has a quantifiable impact on the organism's survival, and therefore becomes a preferable trait within the gene pool. This suggests that emotions could be playing a useful role in natural selection. We could look at it from an epigenetics perspective and understand now that emotions could lead to specific epigenetic patterns which could eventually lead to changes in the gene pool and mutations.